24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone and welcome to our brand new series, Roanoke Jones, Ace Detective.
That's right, some people say Roanoke Jones is the most brilliant detective on the planet.
And I would agree with that. He has solved countless cases, plethora of puzzles, and millions of mysteries.
Millions?
Well, maybe not millions, but definitely a lot. And the best part of it all is that these kids will get to follow along as junior detectives on Roanoke's latest case.
Well, you hear that, junior detectives? I hope you're ready for some good old-fashioned gum-chewing, clue-finding, and super sleuthing because we need to get started.
Now, before we meet Roanoke and get started on his case, we are going to have to prepare by going over our case notes.
Case notes? It's not like a huge file of suspect dossiers that we need to memorize, is it?
What? No, it's short, it's simple, it's to the point. In fact, it's the main point, and it has to do with today's mystery. Let's take a look at it. I will accept help from others. It isn't that big, but we do need to memorize it. And every detective knows that the best way to memorize things is to shout them out with motions. On your feet, junior detectives.
All right, everyone get up. Here we go. Ready? I will accept help from others. Good job, but I didn't hear you. Let's try that one more time, nice and loud. Ready? She said shout, so let's shout it. Here we go. I will accept help from others. Good job, junior detectives. Now, those are the kind of case notes I can remember, short and to the point. However, I'm a little bit confused by the main point. When it says, I will accept help from others, I mean, of course I'll accept help from others. Why wouldn't you?
Well, oftentimes we don't accept help because of our pride. For example, let's say you're carrying something really heavy and you want people to notice how strong you are.
Yeah.
When someone offers to help you, you tell them, no, I can do it by myself. Or let's say you're struggling with schoolwork and your friend offers to help you, but you say you can do it by yourself because you don't want your friends to think they're smarter than you are.
I see what you mean.
The problem, however, is that whenever we reject help like that, we end up making things much harder on ourselves for no good reason. And we don't give people the joy of helping us. Hey, speaking of accepting help from others, there's a story about that very thing in the Bible. It's one of my favorite detective stories.
What? There's detective stories in the Bible?
Yes, and this story is found in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 5. But before we hear the story, let's go over to Roanoke's house to see if he's started on today's case yet.
Good morning, Mr. Wimsley, owner of Wimsley's Whimsical Whims.
Why, if it isn't little Kelly McCarthy, the next-door neighbor of the world's most famous detective. Still trying to catch a moment with Roanoke Jones?
Oh, sir, can I help you with those books?
Oh, no, thank you, madam. I think I can manage.
Okay. Well, Mr. Jones is a very busy man and very hard to get in touch with. So I sit outside of his house every morning and read my Bible. That way, if he comes out on one of his world-famous adventures, then I can tag along. That seems like quite a lot of books you have today.
Oh, yes. I plan to have a sale at my bookstore. Wimsley's Whimsical Whim.
Can I help you with this book, sir?
Oh, no, thank you, sir. I can manage. You know, I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get these books from the post office to my store. I wish I could talk to Roanoke Jones for some advice.
Well, you know, Mr. Wimsley, your case is not that different from a case in the Bible. Let me show you.
In the Bible story, we find a man who on the surface had it all. He had a respectable job, commander of the king's army. He had a reputation for being a valiant soldier, and he had a wife and lots of servants. All clues suggest that this man, whose name was Naaman, wasn't the type to need help from anyone. So you might be asking yourself, where's the mystery? Why is this even a case? What's going on here?
Well, not everything was going great for Naaman. You see, Naaman had leprosy, which was a disease of the skin. In the early stages, you would begin to lose feeling in certain areas of your body. In the advanced stages of the disease, you really began to attack you. You could lose the use of your hands and feet. Now, back in the days of the Bible, leprosy was the worst disease you could get because there was no cure.
Okay, now we have a case on our hands. Naaman needed help. The question is, who would help him? And would Naaman accept their help? Well, one day a servant girl in Naaman's house wanted to help Naaman, and she came and said to his wife,
I wish my master would go to see the prophet in Samaria. He would heal him of his leprosy.
Ah, a clue has emerged. Evidently, there was a prophet in Samaria that could cure leprosy. This was great news. So Naaman wisely accepted the girl's help and decided that he would go to Samaria. Now Naaman knew that in order to track down the prophet, he would need permission from his boss, the king of Aram. So Naaman went to the king and asked for permission to go search for the prophet. And when he did, the king of Aram replied,
By all means, go! I will send a letter to the king of Israel.
excellent! The king said he would help, and Naaman took him up on his offer. But there were still plenty of unanswered questions, like who was this prophet? How did the cure work? And would Naaman find him? After talking to the king, he now had a contact.
Ah, every good detective knows that when you enter a new town, city, or even a country, you need to have a good contact, a go-to guy, an answer man, a source for reliable information. You get the idea. Well, now Naaman had a contact, and the contact was the king of Israel.
So Naaman prepared to leave. He loaded up 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. And with the king's letter in hand and some of his reliable army officers by his side, Naaman set out and soon reached the king of Israel. When he got to the king, he handed over his letter, and here is what the letter said.
With this letter, I am sending my servant Naaman to you so that you may cure him of his leprosy.
Okay, now it's here that something unexpected happened. As the king read the letter, he became very upset. He even tore his robes and shouted.
This man sends me a leper to heal? Am I God that I can give life and take it away? I can see he's just trying to pick a fight with me.
Uh-oh, this is bad. The king of Israel was supposed to be Naaman's contact. He was supposed to provide the next bit of information that would lead Naaman to the prophet. He was supposed to help. But instead, he was shouting, tearing his robes, and threatening to go to war with Aram.
But it was here that Naaman's search caught a break. The prophet Naaman was searching for, whose name was Elisha, had heard about what was going on and sent a message to the king.
Why are you so upset? Send Naaman to me, and he will learn that there is a true prophet here in Israel.
Yes, it looks like the case is broken wide open. Naaman now knew who the prophet was, and he now knew how to find him.
So Naaman set out with his horses, his chariots, his officers, and all the gifts he had brought. Yes, the search had had its ups and downs, but now Naaman could find the prophet, get the cure to his leprosy, and head back home. But when Naaman arrived at Elisha's house, Elisha wouldn't come out to see him. Instead, Elisha sent a messenger to greet Naaman. The messenger said to Naaman,
"Go and wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River. Then your skin will be restored, and you will be healed of your leprosy."
Wait a minute. That can't be right. Washing yourself in the river would not cure leprosy. And when Naaman heard this, he got very upset. He had come too far and gone through too much to just go jump in a river. That wouldn't be helpful at all. And so he said,
"I thought he would certainly come out to meet me. I expected him to wave his hand over the leprosy and call on the name of the Lord his God and heal me. Aren't the rivers of Damascus, the Havana, and Pharpar better than any of the rivers of Israel? Why shouldn't I wash in them and be healed?"
After saying this, Naaman decided to head home. He had had enough. The case had hit a dead end, and Naaman was done. He would have gone home if he hadn't been for his officers. They'd been with him on this entire search, and they hadn't spoken up until now. But they knew that if Naaman needed help and that if he left, he surely would never be cured. So his officers said to him,
"Sir, if the prophet had told you to do something very difficult, wouldn't you have done it?"
So you should certainly obey him when he says simply, "Go and wash and be cured."
okay, so this was definitely something to think about. Washing in a river wouldn't be hard, and it wouldn't take a lot of time. And he'd come all this way. And the river was nearby. So Naaman decided to listen to his officers and wash in the river Jordan. He waded into the river and dipped himself once, and then dipped himself again, and again. He dipped himself 7 times, just like Elisha had told him to. And when Naaman came up out of the water the 7th time, his skin was healed. The leprosy had been cured. Naaman rushed back to Elisha's home and thanked him, saying,
"Now I know there is no God in all the world except in Israel."
Interesting, huh? Naaman knew that it was God who had cured him of his leprosy, and he was very grateful. And because he was willing to listen to and accept the help of all the people in the story, he was healed. Case closed.
See, Naaman never would have experienced his healing if he hadn't accepted the help of all the others in the story.
That is a very interesting story, Kelly.
So you see, Mr. Wilmsley, the clue to solving your mystery has been right in front of you all along, and you don't need Roanoke Jones to see it. All you need to do is accept the help from the others who have been offering it to you, and you'll get those books to your store in no time.
Quite right, Kelly. I'll accept help from the next person who offers.
Please allow me the honor. Williford Wimsley, may I help you with your books?
Miss McCarthy, I would greatly appreciate it.
So that was pretty cool how Roanoke Jones' neighbor, Kelly McCarthy, used the story of Naaman to help the guy.
yeah, he really just needed to accept help that people were offering him. There was no reason for him to do it by himself.
You know, the important part of the Bible story was that Naaman had the right attitude about accepting help. Yes, there were moments when he became frustrated, but he was humble enough to listen to the advice of his officers, and he accepted the help all throughout the story, which ultimately led him to being healed of his leprosy.
That's right. And we need to learn from this and remember how much better things will be if we accept help from others too. Let's take a look at our verse. Two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. Ecclesiastes 4:9.
Can you guys say that with us? Ready?
2 people are better off than 1, for they can help each other succeed. Ecclesiastes 4:9.
Good job.
This is a really smart verse. When we are struggling with something, we need to accept the help others offer us. Why? Because 2 people have a better chance at succeeding in any task.
That's definitely worth remembering. However, I'm still a bit confused.
What do you mean?
Well, this is a detective series. Roanoke Jones is a detective. The kids are called junior detectives. But we don't have a mystery to solve or even a case to tackle. I feel like we should be looking for clues. But I don't really know what I'm looking for or even where to start.
Well, that's where Roanoke Jones and his brilliant assistant Swanson come in. They are on the case of a criminal mastermind who lurks in the shadows behind every major crime in the town for the past 10 years.
A criminal mastermind? Who?
None other than the evil Professor R.T. Morty. And it's been a while since his last crime spree. I'm sure he's planning something. Let's watch.
Outside the home of Roanoke Jones, ace detective, Roanoke's faithful assistant, Emily Swanson, sits drinking her morning coffee. What new and exciting case will come their way today?
Extra, extra, read all about it! Citizens behaving strangely!
Thank you, but there's no need to shout.
Oh, sorry, Miss Swanson, but this is big news and everyone needs to know.
I'm sure Ace Detective Roanoke Jones and I are always looking for a case to help solve.
Well, I'm sure if anyone can help solve this mystery, it's Roanoke Jones, the world's greatest detective.
Yes. You said people are acting strangely. What do you mean?
Something or someone is making the citizens act differently. They refuse help, even if they really need it.
Interesting. What else can you tell me?
Well, if you offer to help a person, they refuse and say, no, I can do it myself.
Oh dear.
Yeah. People are getting lost because they won't listen to directions. People are getting hurt because they try to lift stuff that's too heavy. And the recent citywide three-legged race was a complete disaster.
Indeed. Well, thank you for your information. I'm sure Roanoke Jones will be interested.
Thanks, Miss Swanson.
Good day, Swanson. I deduced from the newspaper girl's exit and the presence of a newspaper in your hand that some sort of news has happened.
Yes, Roanoke. It seems that people all over the city are refusing help from each other. Even when confronted with hard tasks and confusing problems, people still resist help and say things like, no, I can do it by myself.
Fascinating. So the facts of the case are these. People all over the city are refusing help from each other, even when confronted with hard tasks or confusing problems. People still refuse to be helped and say things like, no, I can do it by myself.
Amazing.
Police Inspector Leslie Stray, I deduced from you being here that you're not currently at the police station.
Simply brilliant. Yes, Jones, I left the station and came straight here to inform you of the recent outbreak of strange behavior from our citizens. However, you already know the details without me even mentioning them to you. You truly are an amazing detective.
Indeed. At times like these, I could really use a strong cup of tea.
I believe what Roanoke is saying is that we should handle the strength problem firsthand. Maybe a cup of tea in a crowded area?
Yes, let's head to Piccadilly Square. There's always crowds and plenty of places to buy tea. Brilliant idea, Roanoke.
Yeah. We got to get to the cause of this.
Well, our fearless detective, Roanoke Jones, heads to Piccadilly Square. Professor R.T. Morty, evil genius, is brewing up some trouble.
It is I, Professor Artimorti, evil mastermind, scourge of the city, and nemesis to Roanoke Jones. I am recording these messages so that future generations of evil geniuses will have a record of how exactly I defeated Roanoke Jones as detective, and how I brought this city to its knees. Every day, hundreds of thousands of citizens drink tea. Behold, Artie's more tea. One drop of this tea, and everyone will succumb to its ingeniously evil chemical makeup. It will cause them to refuse help from anyone. No matter how hard the task or difficult the problem, everyone will go around shouting, "I can do it myself!" No one will be able to accomplish anything other than simple tasks. When a machine breaks down, no one will accept help fixing it. When the power goes out, nobody will accept help to restore it. The city will descend into chaos, and that's when I will rise to power. Put that down!
Piccadilly Square, the city's premier living, shopping, and dining district. If there are people to see and things to do, they are being seen and done in Piccadilly Square.
My goodness, this is worse than I thought. This can't continue. This is not how God wants us to live. We should be humble and accept help from others when they offer it.
Yes, of course, but what is causing all this? Who is responsible?
Artie's more tea. I'm not familiar with this brand.
Artie Morty. Professor Artie Morty, of course! Brilliant deduction, Roanoke. Who else would be so dastardly as to make people refuse to accept help? I knew having you on this case was a good plan.
Professor Artie Morty, that does make sense. But why is he causing all this? Why? And better yet, how do we stop it? Roanoke? If you need the sugar, I'm happy to.
No, I can do it by myself.
Roanoke, sir, I'm happy to pass you the sugar.
I said no, I can do it by myself.
Wait a moment, that's what people have been saying all over the city.
Oh no, Roanoke has been affected just like everyone else. And it happened right after you drank the tea. Professor Artie Morty is brainwashing people with this tea.
And Roanoke uncovered this treachery in a matter of moments. Brilliant.
Don't help me.
It would have to be a chemical compound that could be dissolved in tea, but would also quickly be absorbed in a person's system. Wait, this looks like it could be what the professor used.
But how do we stop it? Will everyone be stuck like this?
Maybe not. It says here, an easy counter to the effects of this chemical is milk.
Milk?
Yes, a simple glass of milk should do the trick. Roanoke, could I interest you in some milk?
I don't need your help. I can do it by myself.
Oh dear, how will we get Roanoke or anyone else to drink them out?
I have an idea. Roanoke, sir, I'm sure you won't be able to drink this. This is far too heavy for you. Pretty sure you can't even lift it up. However, I'm happy to help you if you would like to drink some.
I don't need your help. Whew, nothing quite like a refreshing drink of milk to prepare one's mind for solving a case. Inspector Stray, could you pass me that napkin?
You've done it, Roanoke Jones. Brilliant, simply brilliant. Professor Artie Morty's evil scheme uncovered and foiled all in a single day. I'll instruct headquarters and instruct them to deliver milk to the public and round up all Professor Artie Morty's Artie Morty brand tea. Excellent work, Roanoke.
Artie Morty. You know, Swanson, do you think Professor Artie Morty could be behind this whole strange behavior case?
Yes, Roanoke. Quite a brilliant deduction.
So Roanoke Jones has foiled yet another one of my schemes. Oh no, whatever shall I do? I know! Come up with another brilliant scheme. That is what we evil geniuses do, after all. Wait a minute. I have an idea right now. Yes, this is an even better plan. Once I put my new plan into action, not even Roanoke Jones will be able to stand in my way. Mwahahahaha! Hey! You don't laugh here. I do.
What terrible plan will Professor R.T. Morty come up with next? Will Roanoke Jones be able to stop it? Join us next time in the adventures of Roanoke Jones, Ace Detective, to find out.
Wow, you were right. Roanoke Jones truly is a genius. He stopped Professor Artie Morty's plans to make everyone refuse help. And now the city is safe. Phew, what a relief. We never have to worry about Professor Artie Morty again.
I'm not so sure. That last part sounded like he may be just getting started with his evil plans for this city. I guess we will have to be sure and be back here next week to see what happens. In the meantime, we need to remember what we have learned about accepting help from others.
That's right. When we accept help from others, we'll be able to save time, handle bigger problems, and even make new friends.
Yep, but you know what? It isn't just other people we should accept help from. We also get help from God. He helps us every day by bringing people into our lives that care for us, by blessing us with the things we need, and by giving us the Bible so we will know how to live life to its fullest. Well, believe it or not, our caseload for today is finished. However, if you want to solve more mysteries, check out the activity packet that was delivered to you, all of our First Baptist kids. If you aren't a regular attender at First Baptist and would like to receive the activity packet, please feel free to email us at independencefirstbaptist@gmail.com.
All right. Well, we hope to see you back here next week as we follow Roanoke Jones and his pursuit of Artie Morty. And most of all, let's remember our main point for today. I will accept help from others. See you next week.